Alright guys, welcome back. This is Anthony.
Isaac.
Welcome. We are on...
Dude.
I don't even know. I think we're 23.
Pumped. We're like doing this.
Yeah, we're doing it.
23.
Yeah,
how many total views?
I think, how many total views? Time watched is 2,200 minutes.
Oh, that's cool.
So we made it to 2,200 minutes total. I think our highest viewed video is 80...
Fasting?
I think it's fasting.
Last I checked too on your profile, it was that.
Yeah, so we're getting up there. Getting out there. You guys are watching, thank you. Just keep sharing, liking, subscribing, because that helps a ton.
Yeah.
We've got a couple subscribers from like other cities, people I don't even know. Like the names I don't recognize at all, just pop right up.
Oh, you know what we should talk about?
What?
Detox has been huge with my peeps in the sense of just like they're asking questions. How should I detox?
Yeah.
Is this skinny bunny tea or whatever? You know, there's there's
Yeah.
also, and I just said them, and I've said it wrong, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they're just, should I do this one? Should I do that? Should I do your guys? And it's like, well, I think we should start with that.
That's a great place to start.
Obviously our detox package is phenomenal because you do it a specific way, a certain way. I think the most important part of a detox is the beginning 7 days of ours, and that's what I think all the other ones don't even include. They just count that as part of the detox, right? I think that's just that's the biggest separate difference from them. What do you think?
I think, well, yeah, because your first 7 days, for those of you guys who don't know, like the first week of your detox, our detox.
Oh, look at that. Oh, check it out.
There's your lifetime plug. There you go. Boom. Right there. Oh, yeah, put it
there. I'll put my
without knocking everything over.
That's it right there.
Boom. So, the first 7 days of your detox, as you're doing it, you want to get your house, get yourself ready to, kind of ready for takeoff. So you want to be able to get all the foods that you shouldn't be eating out of your house.
Maybe a kitchen makeover.
The kitchen makeover. Be perfect there. And we talked about the kitchen makeover before, the tools that you need.
Yeah. We can go back to that real quick, but yeah, it's so important to get prepped.
Yep.
You can't start a detox with the pantry full of crap. Might as well just throw it away or put it somewhere else for the other people who aren't participating.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things. Like, it's an awesome point because when you look at the regular detoxes, you're taking out all this stuff. You're not preparing for it, so you're taking it all out. Your kids still have Pop-Tarts in there. You still have. You still have, whatever junk food that is your crutch.
Yeah.
And you just decided, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and start this detox. I'm gonna scrap everything that I've been doing for maybe years, maybe months, maybe weeks, and I'm gonna adapt this new lifestyle with all this bad food still in my house. So how are you gonna be successful?
Yeah.
It's impossible.
You're just already starting off on the wrong foot.
Because that goes back to what we talked about with the habits. If your habit is to come home, go in the cabinet, and open a bag of chips, and you still have the chips there, and you're detoxing, some of these detoxes, like the Master Cleanse, we talked about that once before, where you're just drinking, was it cayenne pepper, lemon juice,
lemon and ginger
honey,
or something, honey,
and then syrup or something like that. Those are the components.
I can look it up real quick, but
so when you think about that, there's no food mass to that. There's nothing there to satisfy you. So when you decide, hey, I'm going to wake up and do my normal breakfast routine, you start getting hungry. And you get abnormally hungry because you're not used to those things not being in your day. So now you've come home from work and you got this Master Cleanse running through your system, and you walk in, and your normal habit is to walk in, go to the pantry, get a snack. Well, your snack's still there, but the detox that you're supposed to be on is supposed to be getting you ready for those things and getting those things out of your life. But what ends up happening with most of them is it's just, hey, get ready, get started. Where we start that's a little bit different is you get ready to get started. You get all that stuff out of your system, and you found it?
Yeah, I found it.
What do we got?
So we got lemon juice, concentrate, cayenne pepper, green tea extract, cáscara sagrada bark.
There you go.
I don't necessarily know what that is. Even I know it's a Spanish. I just don't know what the translation would be. Maple syrup, goji berry, noni fruits, mangosteen fruits, and acai berry.
So in that, there's also 13 grams of sugar or 12? 12 grams of sugar. So we've talked about this before in some of our seminars and the podcasts. the more sugar that you take in, the less fat that you're burning.
Absolutely.
The point of doing a detox is to get rid of the fat and the stuff that's stored in your fat cells.
And then what we know what sugar does, it actually depletes you of your like B vitamins, and it's like you're causing yourself to cause fat storage, but then you're also being like, oh, let's just get rid of our vitamins and everything that's so important.
And that's one thing, like that's one, I mean, someone's going to be upset that we talked about the Master Cleanse, but it is. And I actually had a client who was doing it, and I kind of commented on her thing. I was like, hey, you know, we've talked about sugar in the past. You're taking sugar, you're eating sugar. Do you think that's a good idea? And she was like, well, no, I didn't think about it that way because it's just honey and syrup. Honey and syrup, the base of honey and syrup is still sugar. Or good rule of thumb, great rule of thumb, if you put your hand in it and it's sticky, it's sugar-based. So if you notice, if you're ever eating an apple and some of the juice gets on your hand, it gets sticky. Oranges, they get sticky. Soda, a great example, gets sticky.
Lollipops, stuff.
Anything sugar-based is going to get sticky. So if you're eating something that is going to be sticky, it's probably full of sugar. So, and then when you actually get into a real detox, your body should be wasting all that stuff out. But if you're causing your body to store more fat, waste your B vitamins, which fortify your metabolism. Where you go.
So essentially, exactly. But back to the prep, when you're taking, let's say, obviously the chips, right? You just want to essentially just throw it away. Don't buy it when you know the detox is coming up Monday, because essentially that's where everybody starts a detox, is on Monday. But you could always start the prep, getting rid of stuff on a Thursday or on a Friday, on a Sunday, it doesn't matter, right? Even putting things, I always go back to this, but putting the cereals and the chips in different containers, just to get away from the marketing, the thing that, because again, mindless habits, right? Sometimes the cue is just the label, right? That's all it takes, could be just the label of something, and we're like, oh yeah, that's right, I do need caffeine, right? Or I do need chips, right? So putting it in a container, don't see the label, that cue, the situation never gets turned on, and we can continue on with not having a bad snack. And people, it's really that simple. It's they freak out, but it's really that simple when you can think, okay, it could be a situation in the sense of something you look at, who you're hanging out with. Heather and I, maybe you and Katie had to deal with the same thing, but at night, when we're watching TV in the TV room, we crave something sweet. It's like we worked our butt off the whole day, and then it's like, all right, let's finish the day, let's have something sweet. But when we're in the office watching TV in there, still doing admin and everything, still watching TV, same show, we don't crave the sweet. It's just a different environment. That habit doesn't get turned on. And
but it can be as simple as that. So, like, they're in a different room. When Katie and I sit down, if I'm in a different chair, so we talked about the couch before. The couch is my kryptonite. I can't sit on the couch anymore. It's bad, literally. So I have a chair that I do like the editing for stuff. It's behind the couch, so it's almost in its own little cubby. So the couch is lined up here, and then the chair is here with the desk that I edit everything. So if I'm there, I'll watch TV, because we can just rotate the TV a little bit. And I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm doing some stuff, and I'm watching this, and usually I'm getting pushed out of the chair by the dog just climbing behind me. I'm like fighting a dog. That's my workout for the day. And then, or if I'm at the table. And now, as weird as it is, like, I sit at my kitchen table to do work. And it's completely okay. I don't eat, I mean, I eat at the kitchen table, but I don't have, like, the urge to eat while I'm there. But the other thing that I do, and this could be something great for you guys too, is a discipline thing, whatever else. I have certain things in the house that are specifically for Ava. I know we've talked about that before. I don't eat them because I'll look at them and I'll go, oh, hey, I want that, but oh, it's Ava's. And I feel guilty eating a 7-year-old's food.
You're right. If I buy Zary some chips, they're his chips. I won't even take a few. It's just like, man, those are his.
You know? And it's a mindset
granola
thing.
Bars, anything like that. Just granola. Man, I love healthy living granola.
The worst thing she could say is, I don't like that. And I'm like, oh, since it's here. I'm like, if it just sits there for 6 weeks, it's fine. But if she's actually said, I don't like it, I'm like,
it's mine. Dibs.
So, stupid kids.
What are some other coffee? That's a huge one. Caffeine. What are alternatives when you're going to be doing a detox?
So there's a bunch of things you can do there. If you are getting rid of coffee, you would either start tapering. So sometimes the flavor. So we switch to decaf. And it does still have a little bit of caffeine in it. Not enough to disrupt the detox, not enough to disrupt anything like that. But it does still have that in there. You could also switch to depending on why you're having your coffee, if you're having it because you like a treat in the morning and your coffee is like coffee, creamer, sugar, then look at that first. Is that why you're doing it? Is it a flavor thing? Because then we could probably switch it out with something like this, where you have the sugar-free.
Yes.
And it'll help you taper it down a little bit, because you may not like the flavor exactly. Some people are like, I like the flavor of just really sweet coffee. Cool. We have to find a way around that.
Yeah.
Use the Detox, switch to stevia versus sugar. Not the Detox, decaf tea. Use stevia versus sugar.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way, and transition slowly. So if you have a high caffeine diet, you don't want to end up like the one lady who threatened to kill us. But if you have a high caffeine diet, slowly taper it out, make half and half. So a lot of times when you buy, if you have a coffee maker and you actually make your coffee at home, you can take like 3 scoops of regular and then 3 scoops of decaf, and it all blends together. So it's not like, oh, well, this half of the pot is decaf and this half is caffeinated.
It just mixes.
Because you will still have that psychological boost from taking the caffeine in, or taking the flavor in. So your body will actually still have some stimulation there, as
Some
if it's all
placebo
caffeine.
effect in a sense.
Yeah.
But you have to taper down, or else if you just go cold turkey in the sense of 100 to 0, your withdrawals and headaches and everything of that nature is going to be just really, really bad.
Yeah. Actually, I watched a really cool thing. And they were talking about the headaches in some parts are psychological. Obviously, they're in your brain. But it's because so many people have had bad experiences, you automatically assume because the caffeine's
That makes
gone.
sense. Almost like a habit.
Yeah.
Like it's that situation, you're like, oh, head hurts.
Because when you think about it, the effects on the brain is it actually decreases blood flow to your brain. So in theory, that should have caused the headache. So not having the caffeine, you have more blood flowing to your actual brain.
Yeah.
So it's reversed, because the caffeine coming in should have caused the headache, not the other way around.
Crazy.
So, yeah. I listened to it and I was like, makes sense.
Nuts.
As weird as it is, it makes sense. Because if you're getting good sleep, and that's the other big thing. So how you prep to get rid of caffeine, you get more sleep. You prepare yourself for it. If you're tapering down, you'll notice that you're getting more tired later in the day. And that makes life easy.
Yeah. Go to sleep easier.
Yeah. So what do you think would be the best way to get rid of the sweets? Because everyone has that sweet craving. I mean, you even nailed it. Like, we sit down and we watch TV and we get the sweet craving. So what, obviously going to a different room, but what else could you do?
Putting it in a new container, moving it in a different location, in the sense of put it in your garage. Most people have a garage. Put it somewhere in the garage where you won't even really go in there, right?
Yeah.
Let's see, what else? Replacing it with maybe a shake or something that is sweet but still kind of balanced could be another option. So the super shakes I kind of really like, because you can still put some chocolates in there if you want. But of course protein and spinach and some nut butter to kind of balance everything out. So that's another option. If it is chocolate, the darker the better, right? I do switch that. And again, it's one of those how willing are you to change, or you want to go full, like let's just cut the chocolate out, or do you want to, let's go 60% dark, 70%, 80%, 96. 90% is 96 is like the highest or something.
Yeah.
I think I got Heather like 90, 92, something crazy. I was like, gosh, I won't eat it.
I know that the dark baker's chocolate is like, you don't eat
Oh,
that.
yeah. Oh, I've had it. That's what Heather uses in some of her cookies when she makes the keto cookies.
Which is amazing, because when you cook it, it's like, you put it in food, it's amazing. You eat it by itself, you're like...
Because, and I did it. I was like, it was one of those nighttime routines.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, gosh, it's gross.
I don't want this.
That's another option. Eat some Bakers, and that'll ruin the taste. I do think, though, obviously, the overall goal, people probably know they shouldn't be snacking on sweets, right? So I think the overall goal, even with the detox, is pay attention to what are you, like, at first when you're taking the food away, what are you thinking, what are you feeling, like, do you really crave the taste, are you craving it because you're getting tired, or, because maybe it's just something you can do differently with your nutrition, like have a bigger dinner, have a more balanced dinner. And also pay attention to how you're feeling when you're like coming off of the detox, going back into normal life, where you're like, oh man, these last 4, 5, 6 days, I haven't craved it at all. Yeah. Maybe that's what we want to continue. Like let's feed off of that success and keep going, and maybe no longer buy the chocolate. Maybe put it in a separate room where you just stop eating it 6 times a week, 4 times a week, 3, 2, and then now it's just occasional. Right?
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. Yeah.
Actually, I just had a lady finish the detox, and one of the things she was saying is she noticed that her appetite settled out. She noticed that she was feeling a lot better. Her hunger wasn't as erratic as it had been before. It would be like one of those things where she would just see food and just feel compelled to eat it.
Yeah.
But one of the things she had said was about her weight loss. And that is one big thing about Lifetime's detox that's different than every other detox. On our detox, you will see some weight loss depending on how much weight you have to lose. On a lot of the other detoxes, you will see a ton of weight loss. And a lot of people equate that to, I lost a lot of weight, so I must be doing well.
Yeah.
Well, you're starving yourself for 4, 5, maybe 6 days at a time, whereas with what we're doing here, you're not starving
anything. A lot of water.
Yeah. Oh my God,
like 15 pounds of water. Yeah, so you really lost 5 pounds of fat. Lifetime, you lost 8 pounds.
Yeah. And
that's better. And you just body overall from a like inside under the hood standpoint is much better working now, and the metabolism's doing better, and kind of like her appetite kind of settled out. All of a sudden, that ghrelin hormone isn't so like I gotta eat because she maybe was eating, or not maybe, she was eating more fiber, getting more vegetables, so her satiety was more balanced out, right? So all of a sudden, that ghrelin isn't so much like, all right, let's eat. It's more so like, well, the last time you didn't eat where you normally eat, so maybe let's just put a little bit of us out there because you might not really need us. Yeah. And after 21 days of doing a detox, then all of a sudden you're just like, man, I don't need to eat so frequently. Yeah. And
have we covered that before? Have we talked about the whole like conditioned response of eating?
Not here.
Okay.
We've touched on it in our class, but not here. And I think that might be something to talk about because I mean the detox, in a sense, because you're getting more balanced meals, you're getting shakes with 2 scoops of fiber. I mean, you're eating what, once, twice, 3, 4 times a day,
depending on how much you can fit in there.
How much you can fit in, and a lot of times with our clients, what they drop down from eating 3 or 4 or 5 to like 2 with a shake, right? Or 1 with a shake. And eventually, in the last week of the detox, I think it's 2 shakes.
It is 2 shakes.
Or the last few days or something.
Yeah, I think it's the last 4 or 5.
Yeah. So like all of a sudden, the ghrelin hormone is much more relaxed, and that leptin, that fat burn hormone, is more like, all right, let's get rid of this fat.
Let's do it. Yeah. And the one big thing, why are people eating less? So you automatically go towards the whole, well, they just said if you're starving yourself, it's bad. Why are people eating less on the detox and trying to eat more when they're doing other?
Got you. Well, typically what happens on the detox is you're forced, because you want to do it right, you're not going to waste your money, you're forced to essentially eat real food, right? When you're eating real food, we're not really absorbing the full amount of those calories, so you're being fed, you're getting those micronutrients from your fruits and your veggies, and you're getting fiber that's going to spread out your meals, but you're also getting real food that your body's going to use, as opposed to synthetic vitamins that aren't even processed and that are processed and aren't even or won't be absorbed in the body, and also essentially the calories of processed food. Your body will absorb 100% of those calories, right? Yeah. So all of a sudden, when you're doing these right things that we should be doing already, the body says, "Hey, whoa, this is crazy. Like, let's not." So then, so there's all that happening just from the quality that you're getting. That's going to help your body just essentially stop eating as much or not be as hungry. But psychologically, because you can't walk into the kitchen and get the candy bar or the fruit or whatever that we're avoiding, the coffee in the morning, all of a sudden that habit starts to break. And we're eating less, right? We're eating less crap and eating more good stuff. And essentially we're still checking off the boxes as far as getting your protein, getting your fats and your carbs to help, but they're all real foods as opposed to this processed stuff that we're normally eating, right? And then that processed stuff, again, the refined carbs will deplete your vitamins, they deplete your minerals, and we don't really get that back if you're just eating processed food.
I think that's awesome. I guess most people don't know why you get depleted. Do you want to tell them why you get depleted?
Stress. We got stress. Well, essentially everything can boil down to stress if we just want to be general with it. But if you think about just waking up, I take a client who wakes up in the morning and the normal habit was to watch the news when she's drinking her coffee before she starts getting dressed, which I think is kind of cool. The whole have a routine in the morning before you start your day. However, the news gives her anxiety, gives her stress, and even though it's not stress we assume like stress, right? All of a sudden we just normalize this is her daily thing that she was doing. Her body starts off with the cortisol level bumped up. And it's already higher in the morning, right? So it's just going to bump up even more. Or it's lower if she's already cortisol depleted. But so cortisol levels spike, blood sugar spikes, and insulin now says, hey, look at that sugar in the blood. Let's take that out and let's store some fat. Let's store some fat. Let's store some fat. And then you add the coffee with the creamer, right? Or let's say an imbalanced breakfast or a healthy breakfast that you thought was healthy, like a bowl of oatmeal, right? Or a bowl of orange juice, a glass of orange juice, right? All these things that aren't balanced, even if they have one egg in a bowl of oatmeal, essentially that's still going to spike it up a little too much. Like, I've kind of lost where I was going with that.
Thank God we can edit this.
No. But we were saying, so they'll kind of ruin the fat burn in the morning, and what was I going to go with that? Jeez, I was going to go in this with.
Well, that kind of goes with what you were saying already, because we talk about leptin, and that's your fat-burning hormone. That's what's telling you that you're full. That's what's telling you you're satisfied.
Yes.
And if all of those hormones are thrown into chaos because you had the oatmeal with the orange juice and the toast and
we're talking about
jam.
stress.
Yeah,
that's
stress.
what it was. I just lost. I was talking about the first question. So then there's stress present in itself, right?
Yeah.
And then you add anything from work or traffic on the way to work. I mean, anything that you can hear that just puts you in this slightly off mood, that's stress. And I think the way it looks on someone's regular day is it's going just like up, 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 up. And they might relax a little bit, up, 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 up. Yeah. One of my clients has the Vivo Active. Yeah. And one of the features is it takes your heart rate throughout the day. Like so every 4 hours or just like every few... I don't know, I guess a minute, it'll check your heart rate and it'll keep a graph. So you can go back throughout your day and look at your heart rate. And this is cool because all of a sudden it shows her heart rate, resting heart rate, 70, 60, right? 60, 70, right? And then all of a sudden, boom, it jumps up to like 90, 101, 105. And I'm like, did you go for a walk? She's like, no. She's like, it was payroll, blah, 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 or something, stress happened, and it's crazy. She reacts to it. Her heart rate goes up, and that's cortisol, right? And her body says, hey, fat burn, we got to burn some sugar to keep up with this stressful situation, right? And that happens throughout the entire day, which when you're stressed, your body is going to use your vitamins, use your minerals to fight against everything.
When you think about that stress response, like you said it, like, did you go for a walk? Did you do any of that stuff? And when you think about what just happened there, if you were to get up from your chair, walk across the gym, walk down the stairs, walk back up the stairs, walk all the way back, you would see that same spike in heart rate, you would see that change in heart rate, but you understood why it went up.
Yes.
You feel that, you don't feel it, you're not aware of it, you're sitting in your chair, heart rate goes up, and it's still low level, because it's not like, I'm sprinting, I'm just irritated, maybe I'm not breathing right, and now I'm...
And it creeps up on you, so it's essentially kind of like normal. You don't feel your heart rate, and then you're like shallow breathing and all that,
And then you notice, like, I mean, you'll see it too, like everyone has this, like they get a text message from somebody or they see an email from somebody, and it's like, oh, what do they want? And as soon as you go to open it, no matter what that beginning line is, like, it could be congratulations, you want a puppy. And it's like, oh, why are they sending this to me? What do they need from me? And then when you open it up, it's like, this guy, this girl, like, why are they sending this? So those are, I mean, that's one of the smallest but most prevalent stressors. Because like you said, you think about your lifestyle, you think about the traffic, you think about the relationships, you think about work, but it's those little things like, oh, I got an email. Oh, what's that say? Oh, I don't want to open that. I don't want to do this. I mean, I had that happen the other night. I opened up an email, and Kay's like, why do you open up your work emails when you're home? And I'm like, oh, sorry. They want me to do that.
Yeah. They want me to do that, yeah. So, at the beginning of the detox, people deal with essentially the withdrawals and the headaches. But at the end of the detox, they're dealing with responses to stress that aren't as bad as it used to be.
Yeah.
Right? All of a sudden, we've heard and like testimonials come back, and they're like, that one thing that I used to like, the meeting that I used to dread, now was just, hey, I'm here, let's just get it over with, right?
Yeah.
It's their reaction to the stress is just much healthier.
Yes.
And that's huge, because every stress should be brief and it should go down, right? It should never go up and then down and then back up and then right and just have this kind of roller coaster thing. It needs to go up and then down and kind of stay there for a little bit and have reasons to go up, right? And our best example, I love our example, is the dog example.
Oh yeah.
Right? They hear barking outside and they're like, let's do it, let's fight. And then they're like, nope, it's nothing. Cool. And they just go right back to sleep. They just put their head down and they're out. Versus us, we're like, well, what was that noise? Like, maybe we should, is the door locked? Maybe we should lock the door. Let me check the car. And just hear that beat, that satisfying beat that it's locked, right? Just to like...
But then you're like, was it locked before? Did I just lock it right now?
You're like, man, I need to make it a habit to lock it so I don't have to like, and that's stress, right?
Yeah.
It's just these little things. So the detox, right? Eating better, right?
Yeah.
Staying away from processed food and sugars will essentially help your body react better to the stress because of the good chemicals and carotenoids in the fruits and veggies as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, you do have a ton of different stress responses.
Yeah.
And the other big thing too is as you're getting all that fiber in and you're getting more nutrients in, you're also resetting your gut biome. So a lot of times
we didn't touch on that.
I know.
This is huge. I'll let you do this.
Because a lot of times you don't think about stress, but we've talked about it in the past. Like stress is like an atomic bomb in your guts. So if you're stressed, and this goes back to a lot of different things, whether it's eating after workout, because a lot of times you hear that, eat within X amount of time as soon as your workout's over, or, you should be eating 5 times a day, or any of those things. If you think about what happens when you're stressed, your body stops producing as much stomach acid. Your body stops breaking down food to keep you in fight or flight mode. So now let's say you did eat. Now you're going to actually throw yourself into a state of disruption, because now you're uncomfortable. The food's sitting there, and now you should be digesting, but instead you're just irritable because you're sitting there with a food mass in there, and then you're stressed because of that, and then you're stressed because you're at work, and then you're stressed because whatever else. But what ends up happening is the longer that food is in your guts, the more denaturized it becomes. Because when your body does start to dump out the acids, it's going to dump way more than it needs to, which could potentially lead to acid reflux, could lead to a bunch of different things. And if the food's been sitting there long enough, think about it, your core temperature is not enough to cook food, but you wouldn't put your food in a room that's 98.6 degrees and just let it hang out. You wouldn't do that.
I've heard you use that example.
It's gross.
Yeah.
But that's what ends up happening, because it's in there. And it's not no fault of your own, but you're super high stress throughout the day, and you're eating 5 times a day. At no point has your body started to change or break down that food.
Yeah.
And if you're a horrible chewer, it's a whole different thing for a different story. But if you're not chewing well, you're not digesting your food well, that food's just sitting in your guts now, and you're actually doing more harm than good to your gut health.
And then you eat again in 3 hours.
Yeah, because you were supposed to.
Yeah.
That's what you were
Or
told
4 or
to
5,
do.
whatever.
Yeah, that's the healthy time. And that's one thing, like you do see that, and I think I mentioned before, in like a lot of diabetic literature, they tell you to eat more frequently throughout the day. The reason for that is for maintaining blood sugar levels throughout the day, which makes perfect sense if you're diabetic. But if you're not diabetic, there's no reason to maintain blood sugar levels, because in our bodies, we have the ability to maintain naturally our blood sugar levels.
Yep, absolutely.
So, and then we actually haven't even made it to the guts yet. But yeah, the other thing is when you actually eat the bacteria, eat the fiber, your body's actually rebuilding the good bacteria, and since there's no food mass there, your body can actually digest well and take the stress of digestion off of you.
And people think fiber is one. Mm-hmm. We have to always tell them there's multiple types of fiber, and they all have different benefits. There's even fake fiber, but the real organic fibers, and then touch on the digestive, or not the digestive enzymes, but the enzymes in the fruits and the veggies that help with digestion.
So all fruits and veggies come with the natural enzymes in them to break them down. That's like if you
the natural that's meant to go with it.
Yeah, exactly. So when you think about the rotting process, if you were to take an apple and just put it down, come back to it in a week, 10 days, whatever else. It's going to start to get squishy. It's going to start to break itself down. It helps to kind of fertilize the seeds that are in it. It helps to kind of keep it there. And the actual case of it is also nutrients for the plant to eat as it's breaking down. So
stay fresh,
inside of you, you're actually getting an amazing breakdown because your body is actually producing, well, depending on what it is, the protease, you're actually producing your actual amylase, you're producing lipase to actually break these things down. If you have too much in your system that your body can't break down, use fat as the example because people don't think about it this way, but fat can turn rancid inside of the human body. So you consume fat and you don't digest it because you didn't chew it well or whatever else, it can go rancid. So your body doesn't produce the digestive enzyme for that anymore because it doesn't want to break it down and put it into your bloodstream. Same thing with protein. If it sits there long enough, it can spoil or become denaturized.
So you don't want it to chew.
And if you're not chewing, so carbs are the easiest one because you produce salivary amylase as soon as you put carbs in your mouth. And if you don't chew them well, guess what? They got covered with some stuff. They're going to get into your stomach. They're going to get covered with some more stuff. Most carbs are relatively easy to break down. So some of you guys have seen me give the example. If you were to take your thumb and your index finger and put it together, it's about as much force as your stomach's going to produce. So most carbohydrates, you could literally walk out, with the exception of like apples and raw carrots, things like that. You can't really do that. But you'll notice if you don't chew apples and raw carrots well, they flow all the way through your system unchanged.
Come right back up. Yep.
But if you eat a cooked carrot, you don't even have to have teeth, like baby food. Cooked carrots and sweet potatoes.
Yep.
No teeth. So your body has to coat them.
The acid coats it and breaks it down.
So that comes back to the whole eating half your foods raw and everything like that. But when you have those in there, it actually helps your good gut bacteria thrive, which will also kill off the bad bacteria.
Yes.
So
that's
I think
huge. That's so huge.
Yeah, I think you used the example in like the last one, like feeding an army. So the fiber helps to feed the good bacteria.
It's this constant war that you just have to. It's like your decisions that you make feed the good or the bad bacteria. Yeah,
and that becomes its own thing too. Because when you think about that battle right there, if your gut biome is so used to eating Pop-Tarts every morning, and you switch to something else, your body fights back. And we talked about this because there's so much bacteria in your guts. There's a nerve that runs from your stomach and your intestines right up to your brain. Yeah. So if that nerve is in a state of flux because the bad bacteria is telling you what you should or shouldn't eat, you feel like a failure because you're looking at your breakfast going, oh, look, this is an awesome breakfast. I met with a nutritionist and they told me this was a great breakfast, but all I really want is that toast with all that jelly and honey on it and, a bowl of Fruity Pebbles. It's like, well, yeah, of course you do. And you can't break the habit, and people get upset by that because they don't realize that there's a bigger problem. They just think it's them.
Yes. Well, and then they probably expect to see results so soon. When it's something like that, if your inflammation goes up after you begin to eat healthy, that just shows how far back you were. Like, it's going to take, you're now a project. It's no longer you're 20 and you can just, hey, I'm going to work out, boom, all right, lost my weight, let's get back to it. Like, your life stages change, and you have to kind of be aware of that, and that's huge. I think some people's inflammation does go up when they start eating healthy because their gut bacteria is like, what the heck is this, right? And the war has begun, and it leads to the anxiety. It leads to the bad choices as well, because as we know, anxiety, depression are now linked with gut health, right? And that's about to open a whole can of worms whenever they start doing more and more research on that. But so the digestive enzymes, the gut health, there was something else you were talking about. I was going to ask you a question. But those enzymes are so huge. What factor does obesity play a role in your gut biome and digestive enzymes and everything?
So one of the things about any body fat that you carry, body fat is inflammatory, so it's a stressor on your system. Mm-hmm. So just having body fat can actually kill off some of your bacteria in your guts.
Good bacteria?
Good bacteria. So it allows the bad bacteria to thrive. Having a higher level, being considered obese, you would actually have more, not just bad bacteria, more bad habits potentially, whether it's undereating, eating sugary foods, eating junk food. But as far as in the gut biome itself, you're actually more toxic, so you're actually also inflamed. So when you think about inflammation, don't think about it as this mystery thing. Inflammation is good for the body because it helps keep you safe.
Yeah.
Helps to repair things. So, main example, I give this to everybody. If you roll your ankle, sprain your wrist, whatever else, it swells. That's what inflammation is.
Mobilizes.
Yeah, and we know what that is. Oh, okay, well that's, your body's trying to get nutrients to that. That's what it's doing. It's basically on high alert. So we wrap it, we elevate it to drain the bad stuff out and get it in. You can't wrap and elevate your body. So those wraps don't work. I know. I didn't walk into it on accident. Yeah, but people do it. I mean, I just saw a lady the other day with like a sweet sweat thing around her.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, sweet sweat is basically car wax and then a neoprene belt that you put on. Don't do that. But a lot of that happens, and then of course those triggers are there. So now if you are trying to detox your body and you're obese, you're actually dumping a lot of the waste back into your intestines, and you can either have like a massively negative reaction where your body is almost feeling fluish because you're reabsorbing some of that water that's causing the inflammation. You're wasting a lot of the detox
are back into the system.
Yep.
But you're flushing it out too, meaning you're sweating like crazy, peeing like crazy.
Yeah.
Everything is you're just getting rid of inflammation like nuts.
And that's also a big thing too, because as you lose inflammation, you will become potentially dehydrated because your body's just wasting water. Anytime that you're wasting water, whether it's sweat,
it is a stress response too. You're slightly it's a good stress response, but it is stressful, which your body's going to be on alert. I mean, you are eating more veggies and fruits, hopefully with the detox, but the supplements are important in the sense of the micronutrients.
Yeah, and it helps to strip everything out. So, I mean, the big thing with obesity is it doesn't necessarily impact your gut biome directly. What you did to get there has more of the impact, and then the way you feel.
Got you. So because the habits of having coffee every morning or fast food or whatever, junk food or under eating and then binging, right? Those habits make you obese, but at the same time throughout that journey, you're feeding your bad bacteria, when it's time to go, hey, let's get healthy, your body's like, hey, the bad bacteria is like, nah, man, not so fast. Like, you're going to have to take me out first before you can actually start to see this like maintainable weight loss and this maintainable change. Which I think, but most people don't really realize that sometimes it's a lot harder than just, hey.
Well, and that's it too, because the bad bacteria, I know we touched on it in the past, but with that bad bacteria being high, that gut feeling that you get, when that bacteria is high, it's sending you a false signal. So think about a con man. Like, which I actually found out, con man is short for confidence man.
Oh.
The reason behind it is it gives you a false sense of security, false sense of hope, and then when you're doing something that's right, they kind of give you that now that they've hyped you up, they give you that, no, I don't think that's the best idea. I don't think that's the best use of your time or money. Don't worry about what that's saying. So the confidence comes from the bad bacteria. And as you start to alter that pattern, your bad bacteria goes, no, that food's not good for you. Well, it's a cucumber. No, it's not good for you. And you'll start feeling anxious around your meals. You'll start feeling anxious around certain choices. So I know it all sounds like science fiction, but it
doesn't sound. Your food doesn't look appealing.
Yeah, your food doesn't look appealing. It doesn't taste appealing, and you'll notice this. And I wish, because one of the ladies that we have in our seminar, I even brought it up. She's like, I used to hate broccoli, and then I covered it with cheese, and then I got used to eating broccoli, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh well, I like broccoli. Because it had finally gotten in there and killed off all the bad bacteria.
Yeah, and broccoli we know is so amazing.
Yeah, oh my God, it has so many benefits. Yeah. But you have all of that stuff working against you, so you look at trying to change your life, and you can't change it because all that bacteria has thrived for so long, and it doesn't want to change. Everything in existence. Think about, if I were to tell you right now, we're gonna take the exact same gym, which we are going through our floor flip right now, which will be over by the time. We're gonna make it better. But we're gonna take the exact same gym, and we're just gonna change the entryway to the gym. So you no longer come in the front, you come in the back. You're still coming in the same building. We just turned the whole building around. So the parking lot's exactly the same. We just took the building, flipped it around. People would lose their mind because they're like, well, where do I park now? You park in the same spot. Well, why do I have to walk through that door? I mean, people get nuts when we move a treadmill. Yeah. You move something 6 inches, people freak out.
We're losing members because of the floor flip.
Yeah.
Like, that's happening.
Think about if you ever take your car to get serviced and they adjust your seat, it's off by an inch and you're...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mirror?
Yeah. So when you think about any change that you want to make, and this is the biggest mistake that everyone makes, they make a change, they do not prepare for the change, they start the change, and then they can't figure out why they can't stick to it. Well, all the chaos that happens when anything changes in your life, you know, if you bring home a new baby, well, your whole routine's off. You bring home a new dog, your whole routine's off.
Yeah.
You bring home,
you gotta make a new routine for all that stuff.
Like, and that's it. Those are sudden changes, but you have time to prepare for it. Like babies, you know, you get 9 months. You know,
hopefully.
Puppies, kittens, yeah, ideally. Puppies, kittens, like those can be spur of the moment decisions, but they're stressful. If you bring home a kid, or a dog. Kid too, randomly. If you bring home, hey, look, I found a kid. If you bring home a dog unexpectedly, and you don't already have dogs, you don't already have pets, that's why so many pets go back to the pound. Because the concept sounds great. So think about it's a great example. Yeah. Think about changing your diet the same way you would think about changing your daily routine, having a pet. If you were to think about, I'm going to adopt a puppy.
It'd be fun to have a puppy. It'd be so awesome. Have fun. Man, I can't wait to change my diet. I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to lose weight.
Yeah. But now I gotta walk this thing. This thing is you, or the dog. Or actually, you know what? If you get a dog and you want to change your lifestyle habits, great, because you have to walk it and you need walking.
Yeah.
You need to exercise it. You need to house break it. All those other things. Crate training if you're going to do crates.
Not feed it the wrong foods and make sure it's not swallowing batteries.
Well, I think I told you, we got that new, this is going back a few years, I got this organic, super healthy dog food, allegedly super healthy dog food.
What is it called? I have Nulo.
It's
really good.
So this was the Rachel Ray food when it first came out.
Okay.
And I was reading it was like super healthy for like a week. And I did the transition process, everything you were, dogs were crapping all over the house. I was coming home and I had like shower. This is back when I lived in my apartment. Like at the first day, I was like, I'm not getting my deposit back. Like literally, I was just like, I'm glad they got new food. It's supposed to be healthier for them, but was like, so bad. But that actually happens to a lot of adults and people too, because now the exact same concept. Yeah. I'm started eating healthier food. Your body doesn't want to break it down. It's used to breaking down the garbage, and now I got to process something.
Yeah, garbage is already processed.
Yeah.
It feeds the bad bacteria versus the real food has to be processed. Good bacteria doesn't mind working. Bad bacteria does. And it's constant.
Did we talk about it in the last podcast where if you were to take a Pop-Tart and put it in water, it dissolves itself, or was that in the seminar?
No, that was in the seminar.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that in the podcast.
So when you think about like processed food, so to Isaac's point earlier on, like you absorb 100% of the processed food. If you take a Pop-Tart, you put it in water, it dissolves into nothingness. If you take a candy bar and put it in water, it'll take a little while, but it will dissolve into nothingness. So your stomach acid is more volatile than water, so it will actually break down more stuff.
Even quicker, yeah.
But when you think about why you absorb so much, those things are very easy to digest. Now, if you take that body that's been digesting these pre-digested foods, so to speak, and you put a hamburger into it, or it's not even a great example. It's the worst example. Like a chicken breast. Well, I'm thinking like an actual hamburger that you make at home for like high quality meat. Yeah. And of course, as soon as I said it, I was like, well, McDonald's is a hamburger.
Yeah.
So, but like you put a chicken breast in there, your body has to work now. Your body doesn't want to work. Your body doesn't want to produce those enzymes, and maybe it can't produce those enzymes.
It doesn't even have it.
Yeah, it's been so long since I had to do it.
Exactly.
I don't have to break food down. And that's one thing that you want to watch for, because that could happen in a person's system. You could end up having to run to the bathroom every 15, 20 minutes on your new diet, and people aren't ready for that.
Yes.
It was easier to not go to the bathroom. Now I'm going like 4 or 5 times a day, and I feel like it's just running right through me.
Which is I think another reason why starting slow works, because it's a slow change. Your gut bacteria, your habits psychologically are slowly changing, and then at some point by the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th week, whatever, right, there's that switch. We always talk about it. There's a switch that happens with people that essentially pushes them through everything. You know, that's the one where they're like, the food's not appealing, but that switch is, man, I want to be healthy, or whatever that motivation is, or like, I know this is good for me. And it's I think that's what happens. We were basically talking about gut health. And then I mentioned how essentially people, it tends to work better when they start off just slow. Like, you know what, I'm going to just switch my coffee to decaf, and everything else stays the same, right? Or I'm not going to eat past 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. They start with these small habits that success will build on success. I'm going to put cheese on my broccoli so I can eat my broccoli, and then eventually she's eating nothing but broccoli. there's also those people that like that switch, that motivation is so strong that it starts from the very beginning, and they don't care if they don't feel right. They know that what they're doing is healthy, and at some point it just switches. The body says, all right, we're working for you now, as opposed to the bad bacteria and everything working against you. It's what it feels like. It's just your body was changing for you. It was progressing. You just thought it was here when it was really way back here, right? It was,
which you can almost assume, because there's not something you can see. You can't see your shift in bacteria, but you can assume that once you hit that tipping point.
Can you?
No.
Poop health?
Well, yeah, you could. You could definitely see that.
And there, I mean, this is far-fetched, but I only know this because Dr. Rhonda Patrick sent her poop in to get tested, and they gave her microbiome bacteria. And then she took a probiotic, a specific one that she was taking, and then sent it in, and new bacteria was in there that she never had ever had. But yeah, so that is a way of measuring, and it's looking at your poop health, right? But yeah, there's no really clear-sighted, like you're saying, oh, this is the bad, and this is the good, and this is where you're at, and this is how you're progressing. The way you feel.
the way you feel is huge. And that's actually, so it sounds funny, sending in your poop, but you can actually send in any sort of test. So, I mean, we do testing. If you have something that you need to get it tested.
Yeah.
I mean, sending in your poop, this is actually one of the strangest things I've ever heard. They pay for healthy poop. So if you're watching this...
Well, yeah, because now, especially nowadays, they're actually taking healthy poop and putting it in unhealthy people.
Yeah.
You see what's happening, though?
Yep.
Well, it happened in mice. They haven't done it on people yet. But the personality switches.
Really?
Because it's the
makes sense.
Microbiome in the... So they say the rat, or the mice, right? The mouse that was obese...
Yep.
They got to a ledge, or it got to something where it had to make a decision to like hop down and then get to the reward, right? Which is the cheese or whatever. And cheese is so stereotypical, but probably. And so the healthy mice, just boom, let's do it. The unhealthy mice with the bad microbiome, like, were hesitant, right? And not only that, but there was okay. So I'll finish this test. So they did that. Then they switched the microbiome. The rats or the mice that were hesitant were now just going right into it, and vice versa, right? Another test they did was they put them in a maze, right, and they had them figure out the way, and it was a simple one where they figured out the route to the treat, right? And the healthy ones, they put them in there once, and then the next time they put them in there, they found it even faster, right? And then even faster the third and fourth time. Yeah. The unhealthy ones, right, with the bad microgut bacteria, no matter what, they still had trouble finding it. Their memory, they couldn't, like those habits, habit of finding that treat in that maze, it couldn't get set. It was much harder for it to set, and then eventually it was able to. But when they switched the gut biome, sure enough, it was much better at remembering that habit and establishing that habit. That's nuts, right?
Yeah, there's another study they did. It's going back years, and it was talking about obesity and how it can actually inhibit brain function. They never talked about the gut biome, but they were talking about how, because most people who have obesity issues also have some sort of glucose imbalance.
Okay. And
they were talking about one of the reasons why you're inhibited is because your body can't regulate sugar. So once the sugar's in your system, your brain takes off running. But as soon as it starts to taper down, your brain doesn't need that high-level functioning, so it just pulls it all back, and it's like, okay, we can send some sugar over there to keep the life function going, but we'll just fuel everything else with the sugar. So it was actually slowing cognitive function. So that's just the
because
sugar.
We know we will work better off of ketones, which is fat.
Exactly.
And that was causing them to... Whoa!
Yep. So
because of the glucose imbalance in the... Oh my gosh.
So now you got two things working against you. So when you feel like the memory is going, it may not be really your memory going. It may just be blood sugar.
Well, and we know that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we know what sugar does even to your eyesight over time. Yeah. It's just you lose your vision, or your vision gets worse and worse and worse. Yeah. Nuts, man.
I know. So I wish I could remember the name of it. I'm sure I can find the article. I'll link it below. There's a guy, I think he's in California, who actually... he pays his rent by selling his poop.
Oh, gosh.
So he basically, every morning he has a cup of coffee, he runs to the collection site, unloads, runs home. So he's getting healthier and getting paid, to do whatever he's got to do. I think he makes about $1,000 a month doing it. Yeah, and it's literally that simple. I make $1,000 by going to the bathroom. I pay my rent for going for a run and pooping. And it's the craziest thing to ever hear, but that's his story. Like, that's what he does. He still has a normal job. So they'll think about that too. Like,
where does he live?
I think it was California. I'm sure if you just type it, like, look for a man who gets paid to poop. Be careful what you find there. It's gonna be gross. It can be super dangerous.
Sell your poop for $13,000 a year.
Yeah, $13,000 a year. So think about it. If your rent is $1,000, because you can donate your poop once every 24 hours.
This guy gets $7,000 a year for his good, healthy poop.
Yeah,
so there's a few people doing it.
That's nuts. So when you think about what that means, so just take a second and think about that. I know it's like I said, it seems far-fetched. It seems like space age. If your gut health is good, because of what you can do with restoring someone's microbiome, and I'll put the story, the way they found this, because it was...
he gets $40 per trip.
Yeah, it's 40, yeah.
1,100 total. Yeah, gosh, if he does it every day.
Yeah, you're paying your bills. What they found was they had somebody, and I can't remember the exact study, and like I said, I'll find that and I'll put that below too. They couldn't figure out how to get this person's gut health back, and they were like really sick. They couldn't absorb anything, and it was one of like a last-ditch effort from a doctor. They were like, let's just clean up the stool. I don't know how they disinfect it. Don't ask me. I didn't study it that much. And they basically took it and re-injected it into the person.
Okay. And
what they found was after like 2 or 3 of these injections, gut health was going up. The person was starting to feel better. They were absorbing more food. They were absorbing more nutrients. And he was like the guinea pig, or he or she was the guinea pig. And then they started looking at it like, oh, why is this happening? And they looked at the biome itself.
The bacteria.
And when you take a probiotic, there's always a little bit of wasting in the probiotic. So if you take 30 billion bacteria, you may, depending on how everything's packaged and put together, you may get 15 billion in. Some companies and some products have better absorbency.
Yeah.
But if you have stool, you're looking at somewhere around like 10 to 20 times that amount that's going directly in. So you could be getting 60 billion bacteria colonies just dumped right into your... put right into your system.
Dump for you to dump.
Yeah, dump for you to dump. Basically,
yeah,
in your system. So now what ends up happening is you absorb all of that, and then of course the good bacteria. So we talked about that battle. Think about getting reinforcements. Yeah. So if you had 100 billion bad bacteria in your guts, and you just got 600 billion good bacteria,
that's what you would need.
Yeah,
that's a probiotic that's 30 billion. Every day isn't going to get the job done. You're going to need this super...
Yeah. And
I got one, VSL number 3.
Yep.
I'm ordering mine today.
Oh, you are?
And it comes in a dry ice package, so that way no bacteria dies and it's on the shipping way.
Yeah.
But it's 120 billion.
Good Lord.
Units and stuff. It is crazy. This is the one that Rhonda Patrick did, and...
VSL3?
VSL number 3, check it out. They have 3 different strengths. 900 billion.
Good Lord.
450, and then 112. So I think the one that you can buy on Amazon is 112. I think the 450 and 900, you have to have a... you have to get information, and I think you need to have like an MPI number, which I think is a prescription.
I think so, yeah.
But you can go on Amazon and...
That's weird. If you can get a prescription for that, I wonder if you can get insurance covered.
And that would be super beneficial for people to start with, right?
Dude.
Right here. So, and look, see how it ships it in now.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I think this is the 120. Total carbs 0.4. That's funny.
Gotta give the bacteria something to live off of.
But yeah, that's it right there. VSO number 3. So I guess, because lifetime, we only have a 30 billion, right?
Yeah, 30 billion.
So ours would be really good for maintenance.
Ours is great for maintenance. It's great to get you started too, depending on your dosage. Like,
well, you could always take 3 in the morning. I've been telling everybody, and this is, I don't know if this is Dr. Rhonda Patrick or if it's Dr. Sachin Panda. Still on Found My Fitness, right?
Yeah.
But they recommended taking the probiotics first thing in the morning with a big old glass of water before anything.
Which makes sense.
Makes sense, right? To get that good bacteria. And if you take 90 billion all at once, or whatever it is that you have to take, shoot, that'd be a good start.
Yeah, and that could always, we could literally take that into a whole segue on intermittent fasting and why that helps rebuild your gut biome.
Yes, especially if your first meal is healthy.
Oh, God, yeah.
Gosh, and if you can do that on a daily basis. Well, and you nailed it, you mentioned it, we forgot to talk about it, the importance. But bad bacteria limits the absorption of the good bacteria, and we touched on it, but we never really said the exact, because it doesn't want to work, right? Because it doesn't want to break down the complex food versus the easy processed food. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you're eating healthy, it's not getting absorbed, right? So that's why we can't lose weight. That's why the inflammation is not dropping, right?
So think about, this came up earlier today, but think about the show Walking Dead. You have the good group, which is a really, really small group, and they're the heroes. They're looking for it.
Yeah.
And then right now you have this massive army of bad guys fighting against the good group. Yeah. Technically, if we all just turned around and got along, everything would run fine.
Yeah.
But that massive army of bad guys is the bad bacteria. They have all the resources. They're keeping it to themselves. They don't want those resources getting out of their control because they're in control.
Yeah.
And when you think about that bacteria doesn't want your body to absorb the good nutrients, because if it does, they lose control. Yeah. Instantly, there is no reason for them to be in charge, because now it's like, oh, this little bit got through, I feel amazing, I feel a lot better, I have a lot more energy, I feel a lot more alive, all because this little bit got through. Yeah. What happens if I get more in? But that goes back to the switch. As that switch, I would almost have to assume that switch directly correlates to the balance of good and bad bacteria.
Absolutely.
So and that's why no one knows when it's going to happen, why it's going to happen,
and that's why for some people it happens 4 weeks, 5 weeks into the diet, because at that point, just kind of like the threshold into burning fat and sugar to burning sugar mostly, right? That's the same thing. It's just whoa, the body's like,
I'm here.
We're winning.
Yeah.
And we gained a yard.
We gained it, and that's all you need. You need that 1 yard, and it builds momentum. Think about any sports. You can use any sports analogy for this. Any game is not over until it's over, but sometimes all it takes is one at bat. It takes one catch. Yeah,
That's true.
Think about it. One at bat at the end of the game could be the difference between winning and losing. And what the hell was it? I think it was Mr. Destiny. Yeah, the movie was Mr. Destiny. We're going, oh wow. An old movie, and he swings like a half second too late, and the whole movie is, what if I swung a half second earlier? And it's one of those the hell was it? Nicolas Cage did a movie like this, and he's like, what if I had just left the airport with this girl and not done whatever? And it's that 1/2 second or that one small change makes all the difference in the world, and it goes into just how your body could, well, not how your body could, but how life could be completely different with that one small thing. Yeah. And it's that small thing, that tipping point in anyone's body that changes the whole parameters of how your body runs. Yeah. And it's just so simple and so, it's clear when it happens, but getting up to that. And it's frustrating, because what is it? It's 14 to 21 days before you have a brand new body.
21 I know it takes for a habit. Yep. So you're right. 14 to 21 days of habit.
But now the catch behind that is it's 14 to 21 days of what you're absorbing, not what you're consuming. So if you think about...
So when did that 14 to 21 days start?
Yep. So now you've started the war today. 6 weeks from now, basically... you've been fighting it for a long enough period of time where you feel like
your day one of winning could be 6 weeks from now, could be 3 weeks from now. So essentially, don't quit.
Yep, you can't quit, and you can't quit. You can't get frustrated, because the frustration leads to more stress, bad bacteria. You want to. Like, I get text messages, and I'm sure you do too. Why isn't this moving? Why is this moving? And we focus too much on what we see, whether it's on the scale. Whether it's the way clothes fit, whatever else, we focus too much on that. We don't focus on the feel. I actually had a conversation with this with one of the guys that I train who's in sales.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, we sell based on emotion. We sell based on the way things feel. We exist in a feel society. So you may think you want one thing, but as you start to feel better, as you start to, see your energy levels go up, you'll realize, well, I don't really care if I have a six-pack, but how do I feel? Oh, look, I can start to see my abs.
Yeah.
That's not what I was going for. But the side effect of health and fitness is literally the external benefits. You get there based on how well you run on the inside.
Yes, you're so right.
It's the easiest thing to give up because I don't see it yet. Well, you got to get through it.
And I think that's where diets mess up.
Oh,
diets
yeah.
are meant to manipulate the outside
Mm-hmm.
without fixing the inside, and that's why they don't work. Versus truly changing your life.
Oh hell yeah! Because if you have
that was perfect way you said that.
If you have a calorie restrictive diet, depending on how restrictive it is, and Eddie yelled at me for this earlier, so I'll keep it as non-numbery and sciencey as possible.
Yeah.
If you have a calorie restricted diet, no matter how long you hold it, at some point you're going to hit that breaking point where you're not eating enough, your body starts to break, maybe you get injured, you look a lot better, but you feel like crap. If you guys know anybody who's ever done a bodybuilding competition aside from me, when you do a competition, the day that you step on stage is the worst you will ever feel in your entire life. You are dehydrated, you are hungry, your brain doesn't work. I sat next to a guy that I worked with and didn't know it was him. Literally, he was sitting there and I was texting him, "Where are you?" He's like, "I'm backstage." He didn't know it was me either. Like, we're side by side. And then finally he's like, "Hey, I'm wearing this like gray sweatsuit. I'm like, wearing a black one." He's like, he looks over at me, he's like, "Dude." I'm like, "Yeah." Like, your brain is shot. So you think about that, my blood pressure was through the roof. Every time I would sit up, I could feel my heart in my throat. My head was starting to hurt. Like, you see these people are sweating and they're having a good time. They're putting on a show. Like, that's why we had the conversation about the cutting and bulking and competing.
That's why when you cut right,
Mm-hmm.
you feel better during that process.
Oh, God, yeah. And you have, and then we talked about it, I can't remember when it was, that mentality to go through something like that is a different level. So if that's what you want to look like, then you have to understand that you are going to hurt. You're going to be in pain.
To have abs, to have that six-pack,
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of consistent work.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're looking at, if you do it the wrong way, 16 weeks will get you there. It'll get anyone there. Literally, 16 weeks the wrong way can get you there. If you do it the right way, it may take 32 weeks. It may take a full year. But it'll be sustainable.
Yep.
It won't be one of those things where you're like, oh, I wish I could go out and do this.
And if you look at it from like a psychological standpoint, I think they say if after doing a habit about 18 months, it's truly become a true habit
Mm-hmm.
where it's mindless and it's just like when we wake up in the morning for work, like we have to come to work, but after you've done it for so long, it's this natural habit where it's boom, all right, let's go to work.
Yeah, you get up, you have
even
a
on the
routine.
days off, you're still waking up earlier than most people would.
Mhm.
6, 7, 7:30.
Don't remind me. Part of that's because I have a kid too.
Yeah,
but I
and
mean,
she's
even when
on
she's
the
not
dot,
there.
But yeah, just because
Yeah.
sleeping in for you is 6.
Oh God, yeah. It's so bad.
5:30.
I think she was like 5. It's
But
bad.
in summary, the detox is a great way to
kickstart everything.
kickstart everything in the sense of start shifting that microbiome to a better,
Yeah.
just to the better health you biome.
I would even say before we get to that part of this, I'm really don't dive into a detox in the sense
That's
of
true.
detox teas, master cleanses, any of those like rapid fix detox things where it's like 2 or 3 days to detox your body.
Oh yeah.
If you think about a fat cell and how long it takes to actually build a fat cell, the phrase "Rome wasn't built in a day." Let's be as cliche as we can today. Why not?
Yeah.
If it took you 6 months to put a fat cell on, you can't detox that fat cell in 3 days. You can clear out your colon in 3 days. You can clear out your guts in 3 days. But you're not rebuilding good bacteria. You're not detoxing a fat cell. You're not detoxing your liver. And you always get the argument, well, liver is a self-cleansing organ. Yes, but it still is filtering a whole bunch of crap. And if it gets a break, it's not getting a break for 3 days and then we're clean again.
Yeah.
It needs a longer break. It needs time to process everything. And if you have fatty liver, it takes a long time to
And
break
it
that
still,
fat down.
yeah, it still has efficiency. Like
Mhm.
if you're not feeding yourself right, it's not going to work as good.
Yeah.
And a detox could help you get it working better.
Oh yeah. If have you ever seen a screen door? Like, do you have? I don't
Yeah.
know. I wouldn't have.
My parents have them. Yeah.
Okay. So I grew up in New York, and you would see the screen. You would get this fresh screen put in, and you look through it and it would look clear. Like you would look through it and you'd see clear. After about a year, if you weren't cleaning the thing off, it would get dust on it and it would look murky. Like you could see the dust. You could see all that stuff. And I used to remember I hated cleaning the screens in the house. Because every spring we take the screens out, or we take the storm doors out, put the screens in, and you clean them all off. And you would watch the stuff fall off of it. It's a screen. It is literally built for air to pass through, light to pass through, but that little crossbar there accumulates stuff. And even though it was up all year and you're assuming it's just blowing right through, it's still collecting stuff. Yeah. That's your liver. Your liver is a screen door for everything in your system. So you're pushing all this stuff through, and your body's going, well, I'm glad that you're pushing all this through, but I'm going to hold a little bit here and a little bit there.
Yeah.
I'm good with the analogies.
I love it. I love it. This is awesome. This is a good one.
I like this one.
Yeah. Detox. What else will we touch on?
Gut health.
Gut health. Huge.
Yeah, so stick with it.
Our lifetime probiotic.
Yeah.
If this is kind of ringing a bell, lighting up a light bulb, you're getting this weird feeling in your stomach where it's probably your body saying, hey, that's me, you need to make my gut health better.
Yeah.
Start taking, what would you say? I would say 3.
I would say 3 in the morning.
3 probiotics in the morning, a decent amount of water, at least 6 ounces of 12.
If you can put down one of these,
that would
like
be so
24 hours. 24 ounces in the morning.
Yeah, that would be
helps
so good, because that could really flush out and yeah, you could do 3 a day.
Oh yeah.
A 30-day supply that comes out to 10 days. That'd be a good little Kickstarter.
Massive. And then of course check yourself. I mean, the very first video podcast we did, I put the everybody poops thing like over here. Mm-hmm. If you're not pooping regularly, then you have to check something out. Like something is not right. I had one lady who told me she didn't poop out of convenience, and I think we talked about that once before. She felt like it was inconvenient to poop, and she was pooping once a month.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's horrible.
That's not good.
No, but that goes back to if your guts are out of balance, and you're eating crappy food, you're not creating waste.
Yep.
You need to create waste.
Yep.
Literally.
Yep.
You have to waste something.
Absolutely. Sweet.
All right.
Guys, this is Isaac.
This is Anthony.
And this is Nutrition Not Fiction.
Thank you guys for watching. Like, share, subscribe. They got the little icons all over here.
That's right.
And then we got the links, and the description is now down here, so you can actually fast forward to the time of stuff that we talked about.
Love it.
Made it easy.
Nice.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for checking us out. If you like this, go ahead, like it, share it, subscribe. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram.